This is the ZINUS Arnav metal platform bed frame. The standout benefit is how quiet and steady it feels every single night without the extra height or wobble of a box spring. I would put this in the simple, sturdy platform category. It is for people who want a no-fuss bed that supports a foam, latex, or spring mattress, looks clean and minimal, and can be built quickly without a garage full of tools. If you move apartments often, set up guest rooms, or just prefer a modern look that does not dominate the room, this hits a really practical sweet spot. The design is straightforward in a good way. The frame is steel, the slats are wood, and the finish is a matte black that does not call attention to itself. The rails feel rigid when you press on them, and the legs have caps that keep the frame from scraping a wood floor. There is a center beam with support legs that take the load evenly, and the wooden slats are closely spaced, which matters more than it sounds. With a foam mattress, gaps can cause sagging and soft spots. Here, the spacing keeps the mattress flat from edge to edge. There are pre-drilled holes near the head end, so you can attach a standard headboard later if you want to change the look. That detail lets me keep the frame for years while swapping styles as my room changes. Under the bed, there is enough clearance for storage bins, and for my robot vacuum to get underneath without getting stuck, which I appreciate in daily life. The setup experience is where I notice the first big difference from older frames I have built. The entire frame arrives in one box with all the parts labeled and the tools included. I built it by myself at a relaxed pace in under an hour. The instructions are simple and do not jump around, and the bolt holes lined up on the first try. The slats have little guides and non-slip tape that keep them from shifting while you lay the mattress down, so you do not have that awkward moment where a slat pops out of place. The noise level after assembly was near silent. I did a few deliberate shake tests, pushing on the corners and leaning on the head end, and I did not hear a squeak. If you place it on hard floors, felt pads on the feet will reduce any micro movement and keep the silence. Taking it apart later was just as straightforward, which is great if you are moving or rearranging. In daily use, it feels solid. I am a side sleeper and shift positions during the night. On many budget frames, that movement translates into creaks, or the mattress edges feel mushy. Here, the slats and the center beam give even support, so the mattress does its job and the frame disappears into the background. Edge support is also good for sitting while putting on shoes. I can sit on the side and there is no tilt or flex that makes me adjust my balance. For the core performance, I care about three things with a bed frame: stability, noise, and compatibility. Stability is excellent. I never got the sense that a leg might loosen or that the center beam would bow. Noise has been impressively low. I tested it with a memory foam mattress and with a traditional spring mattress. In both cases, turning over at night did not produce squeaks. Compatibility is all about slat spacing and headboard attachment. The slats are close enough that foam does not sink between them, and the pre-drilled holes accept standard headboard hardware when you want to upgrade the look. There is no need for a box spring, which keeps the setup simpler and lowers the overall profile. In the real world, I put a memory foam mattress on it for a couple of weeks, then swapped to a hybrid mattress for a week. With the memory foam, motion transfer stayed low, and I never felt the center support through the mattress. With the hybrid, the bounce felt a touch more lively, but the frame itself still stayed quiet. I had two people sit on the edge and lean back to mimic reading in bed, and I checked for any rocking or flex. The frame stayed planted. I also tested weight distribution by keeping a heavy storage bin under one side for a few nights, and then checking the alignment. There was no warping or weird tilt after I removed it. Officially, the twin size is rated for about 350 pounds, and the larger sizes are rated for about 700 pounds. In my use, it felt comfortably within those limits and not close to strain. One simple scenario that sold me on it was laundry day. I strip the bed, lift the mattress, and sweep underneath. The wooden slats stay put instead of sliding around, and there is enough space under the frame to get the broom and the vacuum in there. I also keep two long storage bins under the far side for seasonal clothes. They slide in and out without catching on crossbars. I appreciate small conveniences like that because they become part of weekly routines. Another scenario is reading at night with pillows stacked against the wall. Some frames grind or tap against the wall when you shift. With this one, the legs and the center support do not transfer that motion into the head end. It is just quieter by design. There are a few details worth calling out that make the experience better. The non-slip strips on the slats help keep the mattress from drifting over time. I have had frames where the mattress slowly walked sideways. I have not had to reposition the mattress on this one yet. The pre-drilled headboard mounts are in the right place, so when I added a headboard later, the alignment looked clean. The frame also ships in compact packaging with foam and cardboard separators. Nothing arrived scratched, and the finish has held up to a couple of ray configurations without chipping. It is not perfect, and I think that is important to mention. The included wrench works, but if you have a ratcheting tool, you will go faster and get a more satisfying tightness on the bolts. The instructions are clear, but the drawings are small, so I propped the booklet up near eye level to avoid bending down to check steps. The center support legs sit closer to the middle than the edges, which is structurally sound, but you can still find them with your toes if you step under the bed in the dark. I learned that the hard way and added a little piece of foam as a bumper. The finish is matte and looks nice, but it can show dust, so a quick wipe during weekly cleaning keeps it looking new. And while the design is intentionally minimal, if you are someone who wants a tall, dramatic headboard and a very high mattress, this lower profile might not be the look you are going for without adding a thicker mattress. Over several weeks of sleeping on it, I did not have to tighten bolts, which is a good sign. That said, I make it a habit to check frames seasonally. A quick quarter turn on a couple of bolts after a few months is just normal maintenance for any frame with metal joints. If you ever do get a squeak down the road, a tiny dab of clear wax on the joint or a felt washer between metal contact points usually solves it. I prefer to avoid oil in the bedroom, so wax and felt have been my long-term fix on past frames. One use case that stands out is small apartments or guest rooms. The bed looks clean and uncluttered, and the underbed space turns into actual storage without ugly plastic showing. I slid a rolling drawer under one side for extra bedding and kept the other side clear for the vacuum. When I hosted a guest with a heavier spring mattress, the frame still felt solid, and the extra slat support meant there was no trampoline effect. Another use case is renters who move every year or two. The way it breaks down into labeled pieces, and the fact that everything fits back into a single box shape means it is not a hassle to relocate. I have dealt with frames that rely on press-fit wooden dowels that get loose each time you rebuild them. Metal bolts and slats that lock into place solve that problem. There are a couple of thoughtful touches worth praising. The slats are organized in bundles with clear markings, so you are never guessing which one goes where. The corners are slightly rounded, which reduces that shin bruise risk that sharp corners can cause. The feet have caps that do not leave marks on a finished floor, and the company backs it with a 5-year limited warranty, which gives some peace of mind for long-term use with a product you touch every day. Stepping back, I think the ZINUS Arnav metal platform bed frame is for people who want an easy win on the essentials. It is quiet. It is sturdy. It supports foam and spring mattresses without a box spring. It gives you flexibility to add your own headboard later. It fits a minimal or modern room without shouting for attention. If you need a very tall bed, a bold integrated headboard, or a showpiece frame, this understated design will feel too simple. If what you want is a dependable platform that disappears under a good mattress and lets you sleep without thinking about your bed frame, this one is exactly that. If you found this helpful and you want more honest, hands-on home gear reviews, subscribe to the channel and drop your questions or your own experience with this frame in the comments. Thank you for watching.